I got us down to a science. When you put the helmet on and you start the bike and you start to drive, there's like this silence and you get in your head and you get in your thoughts and you're in your own little world with the helmet on and it's like a real happy place. My name is David Perez, also known as Shadi. I'm a photographer, director, cinematographer. I do a little bit of everything, but I'm a motorcycle rider and I'm a human being. Being in the film business, it allows you to have some time off to do some things you like taking a day off to ride in this lovely arena. I've pretty much been that person where I'm like, work really hard for a short period of time and make a lot of money, and then you have a break of a couple of weeks or a week, to do whatever you want. I worked at an ad agency for about 3 or 4 months while I was in college, and I hated it. I hated going into an office. I hated having to dress a certain way and having the confines of the walls. And as soon as I figured out the lifestyle of a photographer and to be free and to be able to travel and to work in the outdoors and work with different people all the time, I fell in love with that lifestyle. I grew up in the Bronx in the early 80s. I fell in love with motorcycles at an early age when a neighbor of mine gave me a ride and he took me up to about 80 miles an hour sitting on the back, and I had the bug. I bought a racing motorcycle, a 350cc two-stroke when I was about 20 years old, and I learned how to drive on it by driving it and being a motorcycle messenger. From that moment on, I fell in love with motorcycles and they became an integral part of my life. I didn't have an off-road motorcycle. I didn't know how to ride off-road, and I discovered riding off-road about 3 or 4 years ago, and now it's an addiction. It's all I think about. I can't wait to get back off the road. I love being in the dirt. It's one of those things where you ride in the dirt and all of a sudden you're like, I want to jump that rock, or I want to go into that sand pit, or I want to ride into that berm. You can do all these things that you can't do on the street. I know the 12 o'clock boys, I know it's really hot to ride and do wheelies in the street, but I think it's kind of boring. The thing about having a dirt bike, and most motorcycles, is being able to tinker with it. Putting on a new exhaust, putting on an aftermarket seat, putting on some aftermarket parts. You start obsessing, watching YouTube videos, and you start reading the forums, and you want those tires, or you want that carbon fiber brake lever. You get these parts, you start ordering things, and then you can't wait to put them on and painstakingly clean the chain, and you're so happy when that chain is crystal clear, and then you want to put some oil on it, and you get this tingle in your stomach, and you're like happy that you're able to make the bike and fine tune it and clean it and get it back to where you can get it dirty again. There was a time right after lockdown where we really couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. Me and a few friends of mine, we would come out here to the bottom half of New Jersey, and we'd come out and ride single track in the woods, and it was a chance to get away from the misery of what was going on in the city. It probably kept me from going crazy, being able to come out to the woods and just be among the trees. People talk about psychotherapy, and there definitely is some therapy in riding, especially riding alone and just being in your own little world. The weird thing about the motorcycle world, whether you have a shitty little bike or you have a Harley or a big bike people, they look for other bike people. They don't care what you're riding. They care about each other. The motorcycle world definitely, they look out for each other. I've made friends all over the world because of motorcycles. I was just in Australia, and I made friends with a guy that made a motorcycle film in Mexico, and we were supposed to meet up, and he's coming to New York, and my friend Shmulik, he made Two Wheel Tuesdays. He used to have everyone meet up on Tuesdays, and everyone have to get food and talk motorcycles, and there's a real sense of community in the biker world. I've directed a lot of music videos, I've directed commercials, I've directed short films. So when an old friend of mine, Norman Reedus, he gained a lot of fame by being on The Walking Dead, and he drives a motorcycle on The Walking Dead. They eventually designed a TV show around his love of motorcycles called A Ride with Norman Reedus. When I found out that was happening, I hit him up and his production company. I was like, I gotta get on that show. I became a cameraman on that show, and I'm going into the 5th year of being on Ride with Norman Reedus as a camera operator. I've sat on the back of a motorcycle at 80 miles an hour, sitting backwards and holding a 40-pound camera and dangling off. It's a blessing. You can't ask for travel, motorcycling, and filming, and getting paid. What doesn't get better than that? I've been riding motorcycles a really long time, and the great part about it is it's like life. I'm still learning about life, and I'm still learning how to ride better. I'm still learning how to become a better person.